Hello, this is Dr. Patrick Porter. Welcome back to the BrainTap Business Journal podcast. Today we're featuring not only one of our doctors that's out there changing the world one brain at a time, but she's also a contributor to BrainTap. So you might have actually heard her sessions on BrainTap. If you haven't, we're going to talk a little bit about them today. And who I'm talking about is Dr. Leiva. She's a multi-dimensional doctor in physical therapy, of all things, who merges ancient and divine wisdom with modern medicine. She sounds like definitely like a brain tapper, taking ancient traditions and making modern technology. She's out there. She shares a lot on social media. So if you're not following her, we're going to share her links below. And there she is with her brain tap hat on if you're looking at the video portion of this. But we're going to talk about how she got into this field, what she's doing now, and what we should expect from her in the future, because she's up and coming. And I know we were just together at the biohacking convention, had a great time sharing, going to the events, pre-conference, post-conference, just having a lot of fun. And she's a great person to learn from. So Dr. Leiva, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Porter. First and foremost, I'm honored to be here with you. This device changed my life, and I'm just going to share a little bit of how I even got into the biohacking world. And of course, my story is very deep. I'm going to go through the superficial parts to give you these key points, or we could be here all day. When I was younger, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease at 13 years old, and I was going to the bathroom over 100 times a day. I was throwing up. I had to go to medical professionals, GIs, primary care, everything, and nobody really knew how to help me. They said I had the worst form of Crohn's disease from this part of my digestive tract all the way to the opposite end without getting too much, from the mouth all the way down. So it was really hard growing up, socially, physically, spiritually, mentally, when you're stuck in this place of survival. It's also embarrassing going to the bathroom a lot of times. So you create a lot of baggage psychologically in your mind. The best thing is speeding up. My mother was very spiritual, and she introduced me to yoga, sound healing, and these ancient practices that have been around for a long time. Just earthing, being barefoot, being exposed to the sun, laughter yoga. I was blessed to have a mother who allowed me these other outlets to heal myself in ways that the medical community wasn't doing. When I was in 2015 getting my doctorate, my mother had a stroke, lung cancer, a lot of things going on. I got pregnant. My son was born 2 months early. And needless to say, the Crohn's disease flared up. I went from 130 pounds to about 70, 80 pounds, and I kind of struggled. I actually dropped out of medical school, and I became a yoga instructor, and that really changed my life because it gave me these tools like yoga nidra, and not all the movement, but getting deeper into the mind. I found the biohacking conference, which is actually how I met you, in a hallway the first time 2 years ago, when it was originally in Orlando. I knew just from a spark, because I'm spiritual, that moment I met you was going to change my life forever. And it did. Not only professionally, but inside of my heart and soul, I healed a lot of things. And for me, a lot of the trauma was before the diagnosis. The issues get stuck in the tissues. And when you cycle them in the mind, and your mind, I have a shirt on, it says mind over matter. I know you met me in person, so I'm kind of short. There's nothing I can do. I put my feet up as high as I go. But I'm a big proponent of mind over matter with my patients. Whether you have a stroke or spinal cord injury, if you believe you can't, then you definitely can. But if you believe you can, we unlock a whole new world. So finding the brain tap was like amazing, because not only did it have the meditation, the guided meditation, but it also had the lights. And for me and a lot of victims patients I treat with trauma, it's hard to close your eyes. And these people, veterans, when you have these lights, it's almost like an activity where you're not shutting down, and it tricks you into meditation. So I've always said that the sound bowls and the yoga is a front door to meditation and brain fitness. The brain tap and the other devices I have, electrical stimulation, master resets, all of this, I say it's a back door. It's whether you like it or not, you kind of tap into this parasympathetic state that we all need to rest and recover to, and then there's what I also love about the brain tap, because a lot of devices are rest and recover, but it also has focus, concentration. When I started speaking and as a keynote speaker, I was worried I was going to go to the bathroom and stutter because of my history. And I opened the Brain Tap app and I looked up speaking, stage presence, and then I was ready to go. So I encourage it for my kids and everyone else, but really just being hospitalized, going through a lot of surgeries, and in America, we live longer and sicker with the prescription medicines and the surgeries. So I have more scars on my stomach than body parts and organs. And I was just sick of being cut open and having more of myself taken out of me, and going through the spiritual pathway as well as biohacking. It's almost a meditative pathway where you can truly heal yourself. And I used to be upset with people like me because they told me, when you're really ready to heal, come over here. And I'm like, the world makes you feel like that's a witch doctor, because it's not the gastrointestinal doctor. It's not the colorectal surgeon. And I was really upset. But once I had my son and I needed to find ways to heal my mother and my son, it's funny how that happens when it's outside of yourself. You want to find the tools to help. And nutrition, meditation, all of these things were so important, and it healed my family, and then it healed myself. So I had to open my business, around it. People say miracles happen here, and nothing here I invented. These things are just holistic, packaged together because they're all important, and then magic happens.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the story to hear.
That's great. Well, you've went a lot farther than just most physical therapy centers, right? I mean, you're doing energy medicine, you're inspired to go out and look for things. And I love biohacking because people prove it on themselves first before they go out there and share it. So many people are out there doing things that they've never done themselves. You've been through it. You've been through that dark night of the soul. You've come out the other end, and just like everyone else, you continue to improve yourself. So when you to get the title Doctor of Physical Therapy, what motivated you to do that? I mean, a lot of people, you could do a lot of what you're doing without having the license, but what inspired you to do that?
So there's a couple things. I actually was on the path and to go to USF medical school. I always wanted to be a doctor. I took my MCAT, I got accepted, and then my mother had a stroke, lung cancer. And just going to school, I was a Jenkins scholar. If I turn my phone and my camera here, you can see on the wall, I have like this whole list of certifications, which I'm really, really proud of. But when my first child was born, he was born 2 months early. And again, the medical community told me he might not walk, he might not talk. So this is on my website if anybody's interested in reading deep down into that. But for me, I have a connection. I do believe in God, but for everybody out there, no matter what you believe in, the source was pulling through me that my children are leaders of tomorrow. I'm strong, they're strong, and not to listen to this person in front of me. And it was really hard because there was a disconnect since I was little with the medical world. And I wanted to be a doctor to fix it. But my son really changed my life because when he was born 2 months early, both of my children were, because I have a tiny cervix and little things, abnormalities. So they told me I would never hold a child. I'll never have a child. Let's go back to that. I was told I would never have children. I have 2 beautiful boys. So this is where we can break these chains down, but they were both born early. It was a hard road. So he needed physical therapy, speech therapy, occupational therapy, food therapy. And, the doctor said, put him in these programs to get benefits from the state so he can be taken care of the rest of his life, fill out all of this work. And again, when you know more, you do more. Knowledge is a blessing for me. It's not ignorance is bliss. I don't believe in that at all. Knowledge is power. So I had the tools where I was like, no, I'm not going to fill that out. He's going to therapy. And that's when I really dropped out of school to take care of my mother with the stroke and lung cancer and my newborn child who wasn't walking or talking. He had to go, I would believe I dedicated 6 to 8 hours a week at St. Joe's Children's Hospital. They would vibrate his jaw so he would learn how to eat. They would do joint compressions head to toe. They would do desensitization techniques like rubbing his skin with Brillo pads and sand. And as a young mother, I thought they were torturing him. And my child, you see on TV when people put their kids down on sand and they curl up and they don't want to touch the sand. My kid had sensory issues. He would scratch his eyes off, have to go to urgent care. But after taking him to therapy, dedicating my life to my child, which I knew I had to stop everything. And then my child not only went from crawling to standing up and kicking a soccer ball, which is skipping over so many developmental levels, to get right where he needed to be. And even more, now he's considered advanced. I don't like these labels of delayed or advanced because I think we are all where we should be and it's part of our story. But I know when as a new mother and everybody's telling me your child maybe he'll walk next week, maybe this or that. And we called him Speedy Gonzalez because he crawled really fast and he wouldn't really talk. He learned sign language. So I tapped into different parts of his brain and I never gave up. And that's how I got into the neuro, field, because mind over matter. We had to go through the brain and I didn't understand the techniques in therapy. And a lot of times I was exhausted and I was tired and I didn't want to do it. But when you're working with plasticity, neuroplasticity and really making changes, you need to be consistent. And when I finally got consistent is when my son's life changed and every single person after that has been in front of me. So I'm blessed I've gone through it with myself. I've taken care of my mother and my children. So I felt, this is it. This is what I'm meant to do. So that's really how I got into that. And it was beautiful.
Well, you should be congratulated. A lot of people just when you talk about witch doctors, I think doctors don't understand how much power they have at times. And my mother was diagnosed, this was back in the 80s, that she only had 6 weeks to live, and almost 6 weeks to the day she died. And she was very suggestible. So they don't and the problem is insurance, right? I mean, they're afraid to get sued. So people are afraid to heal. They're afraid to get people the possibility of thinking things. So on the other hand, when you showed that big wall of certificates in that, tell us a little bit about what those are all about. Because I know when you went on your journey, the nice thing when you're saying knowledge is power, of course, knowledge applied is power, and you're applying it in your practice.
Applied
Science Center and with yourself. What's really powerful is you're doing it with yourself, with your family. So tell us a little bit about that journey and the other certifications you have. So if there is somebody in your area or that wants to fly in and see you at the Exercise Science Center, they know what they're dealing with here. You're like your superpower looks like it's acquiring certificates and applying that knowledge. Because a lot of people, I knew people over the years, they go to all those trainings and they never even applied. I had a good friend that actually, we called him a seminar junkie. He'd go anywhere to hear anybody talk about anything as long as he got a certificate, but he never went into practice.
Yeah.
I mean, he just continued to learn.
So I host an internship and I have students that come over from all over the United States and they come here and they're blown away. And I tell them, don't be intimidated because I could have physical therapists that have been working for 20, 30, 40 years in the field and they're still blown away. Because again, people are getting the continuing education, maybe not applying it, or they're gearing their education to what they already know to make it very easy, attainable. Let's keep it moving. Let's not fix what's not broken. And for me, the system was broken since I was a child. And for me, I've learned every single day I want to be better than yesterday. I want to know more. And I always tell my patients when I come back from the last conference, we now order blood work, we have IVs, we have the H-wave and a couple different things. I've already started applying that immediately. We have the hyperbaric chambers from anti-aging bed. So I take everything back to the center. We have a membership here. So most of it's all included. So the more I grow, my patients benefit. Some of my favorite degrees, one of the first biohacking certifications I got was the newbie certification. So from NewFit, Garrett Saltpeter, he invented the new fit, and it's a device. When I was hospitalized for 9 months, I still can't feel my arm, I can't feel my left breast, my left shoulder blade, but at least I don't want to cut it off anymore, because it used to cause me a lot of pain, and it was pulling a lot of this radiating pain, referred pain. But so I tapped into the electrical stimulation to heal the nerves, to keep the muscles strong. And not only did I get the practitioner level 1, I did level 2, I did the MS, the pelvic floor, the hypertrophic training. I did every single course they ever made available, because I want to be that practitioner that knows the most about the device, and not more than everybody else, ego, but so I can apply it to my patients in so many different ways. When people come to my center, even if they've been at other centers that have the new fit, they're blown away at the way I apply it to them. We can even do, pelvic floor therapy, water baths, body scans, so many things. So I don't even have all of my certifications from each level, because then it would be ridiculous in here. Any doctor knows you have to keep going back for education. So I'll probably put one that I'm proud from each company. And I'm really excited to add a neural check from Brain Tap. So that's my next mission. I want to talk about that, so I can assess things for my patient, and they can continue to get this feedback, which for me, I know is happening, but very important for the clients to see. So I'd love to talk about neural check. The second certification that I really love is my master dry needling. Everybody said, how's dry needling different than acupuncture? Recently, I was on a Norwegian cruise, and I heard the acupuncturist explain it. And when I raised my hand in the crowd of people and told him, well, sir, I'm a dry needler, and he knew everything he said before then was BS, by the way. He's like, oh no, somebody knows. But the whole thing is, the acupuncture is an Eastern philosophy. The dry needling is Western. And as a doctor of physical therapy, we're not allowed to say, I'm going to cause hair growth or pregnancy. But what we can do is relieve the muscle tension. We can open up the joints. We have these like evidence-based results that happen from dry needling. But when you're a yoga instructor, a sound healer, and you do all these things, you know the meridian pathways, you know the energy that goes through the body. So a lot of the things acupuncturists do, I do as well. I could never say I'm an acupuncturist, but I love the science behind dry needling and how I apply it into also the spiritual world. So that's where we take all of the certifications together, and it's a beautiful place. I know you know Beth Shaw. I think I also met you in the first conference. I went to Yoga Fit, which was a yoga a school to get my certifications. I went through the 200-hour, then I went through the warrior training. And even though these other certifications, I'm not required to keep going back, I do. And all of my yogis, like even yesterday, the sound didn't work, the mic didn't work. And I said, I know you're not here for me, it's for what's happening outside of this room. And I keep growing as a yoga practitioner as well, because I love what I do. So I don't even need credit for it. We have, I have my honor societies here, and so sound healing. I love the School of Meditation and Mindfulness. I've gotten degrees for prenatal, postnatal, pelvic floor, senior geriatric. My specialty when I got my capstone project was on Parkinson's disease. And we can go back to that story just for a second, but this is even before biohacking. I met a patient at the hospital, and they said he couldn't walk 20 feet. And by the time I was done with him, he could walk unlimited distance. And I got in trouble for writing that. They said, how could you write that? We're in the hospital, the ICU. I said, well, I tapped into a different part of his brain. We unlocked it. We're walking around the whole hour. We're going outside. We're going over curbs. And instead of praising that, I actually got in trouble, which is okay. But I realized the magic that is within these hands and this head, which is, it's not new. It's just giving that mind over matter to the patient that you can do it. You have to tap into what works. And this is, again, one of my favorite devices here. So
All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a shift a little bit because I met you through biohacking. I also love Beth Shaw. She's a frequent guest on our podcast because I'm a big believer in yoga. When I went to Rishikesh, I want to go back there, and I really should go get a certification in yoga, but I haven't done that yet. I just love doing the stretches and doing the breath work, a lot of that. But tell us, with biohacking, what motivated you to get into biohacking? Maybe for the listeners that don't know what biohacking is.
Yes, this is important because I actually was going to get a license plate that said biohacker, and I was surprised it's available. So maybe a listener will get that in Florida. However, my husband and everybody around me says, no, that sounds so weird. Don't do it. Who's a hack? A hack job? That sounds terrible. And even I have a thing with you on the wall. I do biohacking retreats. The news tapped into that word and thought of it as a negative connotation. But really, just like you would think someone hacks into a computer and takes it over. And, typically we think of someone stealing something. But in the biohacking medical community, think of it opposite. We're not stealing anything from you. We're just tapping into your body, whether we're analyzing what's going on in a very efficient, fast way, because that's biohacking, getting these biometrics, the numbers, neural check. So you're getting this assessment, then you provide a treatment. And a lot of the biohacking treatments, for example, you can assimilate deep sleep. You can get so many things done. It's like Dave Asprey says, you work smarter, not harder. So the electrical stimulation on your stomach, you can assimilate 70,000 contractions in 30 minutes. So me being tiny as a therapist, I'm like, of course I want to add in electrical stimulation. And when I work with the NFL athletes, wrestlers, UCF guys, these big clients, I'm not breaking my body because I'm tapping in with cool technology and creating the same results or even better. So I found it again to have my mom walk again. She had a stroke, lung cancer. Me, I wanted to chop my arm off. So before I even opened my facility, right after I got my doctorate, I bought the NewFit device. So that's again how I started it, because I was trying to find what can I do to fix my arm because it was getting weak. I dislocated it a bajillion times. It was terrible. So I started researching before I even had my facility. I was working at traditional outpatient centers, skilled nursing facilities, hospitals. And then just knowing my machine that I had, I thought, wow, I should bring this everywhere. And the funny thing is, everywhere I brought it, nobody wanted it. Like the head ups, because what are you doing? And we're discharging patients too fast. You're healing them too fast. And if you're the only one, you can't be the star of the show. And it's not about being the star of the show. It's just I found technology that worked. So at the center, we have the infrared to detox. We have the foot baths to detox. We have the IVs to, bring back in the hydration, the nutrients. We do blood work to prescribe nutrients because everybody's different. And working with athletes and veterans. And again, I always identified with Crohn's disease, but a lot of things happened before that, which I'm not trying to call it trauma so much or my trauma, but these things that can really haunt our nightmares, our inability to even close your eyes or walk across a parking lot by yourself. So I knew that there was a part of me that was really hurting because I was scared of everything, but I also didn't want to share my story over and over and over again, like a lot of traditional therapy. And that's where I found the brain tap. And salt caves, traction, vibration, these things almost, it's like brings you back to your best self. So that's how I got into biohacking, because I wanted to heal my mind. I wanted to have, if you're not healthy at a cellular level, you're not healthy. So, that's where we got into the blood work and the supplementation. And I got off of the chemotherapy pills and the prednisone and the Asacol, the Flagyl, the 6-MP, like I was dying alive. By the time I was 21, I had osteoporosis. I've been anemic my whole life. It's the first time I'm actually not anemic. I'm not doing blood transfusions. And it's just really doing preventative, not repairing. I'm sick of just always being in the repairing phase. I want to be preventative. I want to live long, happy, and I give that to all my patients. So that's really how.
Right. Well, it sounds like you work with a wide variety of things, but can you take us through just some of your standard protocols where you're using your favorite techniques and how you put that together and package it for people so they understand? Because a lot of people out there, they learn one thing and they think for the rest of their life, that's all they're going to do. They're going to do this one thing. And even here, we're just taking the courses on that new fit right now. We have one here, and how to use it, because we want to implement it here.
Nice. Yeah. So again, I've taken all those classes, and what happens here at the center is always, because people, no matter what they do, we do an evaluation first. Everybody kind of wants to get around the evaluation and just, oh, I saw this, I want to do that. And that's where we kind of take in the reins. No, we want to evaluate you holistically, fill this paper out, or, the documents out. So we have an evaluation, and then we go through body scanning. So we'll body scan with the new fit. We'll find hot spots for any neuromuscular things that are going on. If they have a referral from an orthopedic, of course, we go over whatever the referral is, because we also do personal training and direct access. Maybe someone wants to walk better, do body contouring. So whatever is their goal, we're going to assess it. We're going to get baseline measurements. So we always do that first, because people want to know what's going on over time. So we'll probably do that every 12 visits, maybe every 18 visits, depending on the frequency. From there, we prescribe what biohacking modalities, physical therapy that they might need. Here, again, we have a list of services that is so big, they describe it like the Cheesecake Factory menu. And sometimes people, by the time of discharge, they're like, I never got to do all of these things. So that's why we also have a membership where people can come back and do all the things they love to do. But we definitely stick to the patient's goal in the beginning. If they want to walk again, talk again, close their hand, feed themselves, we get that, we make that happen, and then we go to infinity and beyond. I had one lady who was crushed between two semi trucks. She went around the world for 2 years, couldn't walk again. And when she came into my place, she started crying because she said she felt like she was going to dance salsa. And I can speed up over time. It took me less than 6 months, and we were dancing in front of the mirror. Salsa. My Spanish husband would be so ashamed. Salsa. And who knows what I was doing? I was probably just shaking my booty, just like this. Because you guys know that's what I do. But I feed off of that. When my patients say, I saw myself doing this, I say, you didn't see that by mistake. It's because we can make that happen. And so again, they get what they need. Usually we always attain the goals first, because that motivates the patient that they can. And then we go to infinity and beyond. So I've had patients who've had, who were told they wouldn't live anymore, unfortunately, like your mom, or I had a situation happen with an employee recently. And not only when people come here, a lot of people come here at the end of life because they don't know what else to do. So they're done with the traditional medicine. So first we tap into the mind over matter. We might do sound healing. We might do journaling, chakra alignment, go in very gently and make them realize, because you have to know that you can do it first. We're not just going to overload people. And because even though pregnancy, pacemaker, and all of those things is a contraindication to, for example, electrical stimulation, when people are at their end of days, I say, hey, let's get with the cardiologist, the obstetrician, because, if they sign off on it, we'll start experimenting a little bit and take you to infinity and beyond. Because a lot of the restrictions that are placed on providers are there, again, like you said, to protect them, insurance, liability. Nobody wants to kill anybody. Nobody wants to be sued. So if we go past the layers and develop the relationship, which we do here, we make a list of pros and cons, and then we say, how far are we going to go? And most often when someone's on, dialysis at home and their wife's taking care of them, breaking their back, and they can't feed themselves, they're ready to go past that point, even if it might be risky. So this place is known for doing things that maybe they don't do anywhere else. Because not only that, we don't have computers when we're with the patient. We're right there. The interns might have the computers, but I'm not just here to talk about it. I'm really there with the patient spiritually. Each one of my breaths when I'm with the patient is almost a prayer for them to heal and receive. And I think that's the magic that happens. So, that's how it goes here. Everybody, what's included is a home exercise program. So we have memberships that are once a month, once a week, 3 times a week, but no matter what, people get a home program that they can take with them, because that's important. My whole life, again, growing up with different illnesses, I was always sick of getting referrals and having to go to the doctor for everything. I wanted somebody to teach me how to have better habits, how to live better. And really, when these, and that's the brain tap, I tell my patients, buy a brain tap. You can tap into anything, nutrition, mind, align your spine for your mind posture. You can share it with your husband who might have a hard day and he's bothering you, it can fix so many different things. So again, we evaluate, we see the home environment, and we go as deep as the patient wants to go, because we have different providers. So I'm the owner, the founder, but we have outside providers, the nurses that come in for the blood work. We have medical directors. So there's a lot of stuff going on here, and everybody gets what they need. A lot of times when doctors refer their patients and then they talk to me about a patient a year or 2 later, and then they see them in the background, they're like, I didn't know you're still with Sally. I'm like, you don't know what I can do here. So everybody, they're like surprised that when people become patients here, it's almost like they become family.
That's awesome. And I know that for people that might not live in the area, obviously you can tell us, they can go to your website, the exerciencecenter.com, and they can see you do retreats.
Yes.
So for people that want to take a deep dive into those retreats, tell us a little bit about your biohacking retreats. I know there's one coming up in 11/8, or is that?
Yeah. So we're going to have,
we're
going to have a Friendsgiving biohacking retreat in November, and I'll send you information about that after the podcast, because I'd love to include you guys always. For example, we're having a mini retreat next Sunday at Safety Harbor Resort. So it's a beautiful resort with a steam room, spa, mineral springs. So whether it's at my facility or one of my affiliates' facility, we provide a lot of activities that people might not get in one office visit or going to 10 doctors. We kind of bring it all together. So people can, get an IV, brain tap, master reset, dry needling, body work, IVs, nutritional counseling, all in 1 day or 3 days. A lot of our retreats are usually 3 days. We are looking into next year doing a biohacking cruise. So I'm really excited about that in May. But really, we combine all of those things that you said before, like in my bio, some ancient practices, the modern technology, and people, we definitely promote healing from the inside out. You come a different way and you leave just like feeling so restored and educated. People feel powerful. That's the biggest thing I hear, is that when they left, they learned so much. Almost every meal, we call it a dine and learn. So we have people that either sponsor the meals, people like, we have the transcriptions, the blue medicine. We have, we're affiliated with Anti-Aging Bed, Young Goose, a lot of different companies. So they might sponsor the meal and talk and give samples, and then these clients are really learning from the leaders in the industry. So they're receiving, they're learning. It's a very intensive weekend, but it's also so restorative. They're like, I'm making a reel of reviews because people, it's funny to hear them. They're like, I feel like it was like 10 days, but I also feel restored. It was amazing. So I would love to have any of your listeners at the retreat. The Sacred Spa Day is just 6 hours next Sunday. We're meeting, we're journaling, we're setting intention. Then we're going through the sauna. We have add-on body work, and then we're doing a sound healing. So we're bringing all the technology, and it's going to be amazing.
That's great. Yeah, we're just outfitting our 88 acres here in New Bern. So we're gonna have to have you sponsor something here and bring you all out to we're putting in a healing sanctuary here. We're gonna have all the equipment. You won't have to bring yourself and do the thing, because the only thing we're missing right now is HBOT, and we're gonna figure that out too. So we have the big red light bed, course, we partner with Anti-Aging Bed. We have New Fit. We have 16
Yeah.
biohack.
So Anti-Aging Bed actually has the HBOT device too. So maybe you can get one from them, and they've added in the technology of the grounding. And then they also have the technology of it's like a Tesla frequency machine. I have John Baxter's book right here, actually, because I love Anti-Aging Bed. We have their stuff, and I've been learning about it. You can set so many frequencies to the bed cover or the bed by connecting the device to the sheet, because it's made out of silver. And I'm learning about that too. So, but hyperbaric is so amazing. If you need any help with that, I work with the athletes downtown. You know, Dr. DeTerry, I introduced their clinic with deep sea, undersea oxygen clinic. He was the guy that spent 100 days underwater. He was all over the news, and he was one of my patients. I introduced him to the brain tap. Now he has it at his facility. We work with the athletes with concussion, but he has the hard shell tanks and amazing things with the hyperbaric. So that's a great add-on, and I would love to help you with the retreat. You know, I'm your biggest fan, so I can't wait to record more. So if you guys are listening, I'm looking to record more, even, you know, for Parkinson's, for children, for therapy. I actually recorded one when I was on a plane to Alaska. It was Align Your Spine and Free Your Mind While Traveling. So I can't wait to send that one over.
Be great. Yeah, we look forward to that. So tell us a little bit about what we should expect for the Exercise Center coming up in the future. What's the future look like? I know it's bright because we're going to need to wear shades to hear about it, but tell us a little bit about
it. Yeah. So again, with technology and what's out there, if it works, you know, we just ordered the ice plunge. So I'm excited about that. I love ice baths, and there's a lot of facilities around me that have it. And I was going there, but you know, I want everything right here. So I just bought one of those. I'm looking to take over this whole building. So all of the clients, this place is going to get twice as big, and we're looking to restructure the building vertical. So I've been looking for land and to create a retreat center, but it's pretty awesome that you're creating one, and a lot of people around me are creating that. So I feel called to just expand where I am and collaborate with people like you right now, because I think we should all do what we're passionate about and collaborate with others. So what's new for me is traveling around the US. I've been doing keynote talks on my story, which also includes your device. I literally have slides dedicated to the brain tap, to the anti-aging bed, to holistic medicines. We added in the mind expander, you know, at the facility, the one that you recommended from the last conference. Yeah. So the C60, the mind expanding vape pens, that's been amazing because, you know, some people want something else. And again, it's always expanding. So you're going to see more of me traveling around the US, speaking. We now have employees here where the members can come 24/7 and just sauna, ice bath, traction, vibration. So we're really trying to open this up and have more availability. We have internships, volunteer opportunities, scholarships. Oh, we just opened a school. So I opened a school in January, but we've been recording content because a lot of practitioners can't even understand how I'm retaining all the information that I know. So I created a way where I recommend certain things, almost like a biohacking counselor. How can you shift your business from this traditional way to the new way? And the military guys call me a force multiplier because they admire the fact that I'm not intimidated by all of these places opening up around me, because there's only one me. I'm special. I don't care. But there's millions and millions, and you know, I don't know how many people are in the world, so I'm not going to estimate that number where people can laugh at me, but I can't treat them all. So I'm trying to create more centers just to heal the world. And I created a school for doctors and yoga instructors to learn how to create, instead of just a yoga practitioner, an integrative biohacking yoga practitioner. So all of my certifications can help you open a place like this under different medical providers, under doctors, without having to go through a lot of that education. But at the same time, I'm proud of my facility because I've seen places pop up everywhere. And sometimes the videos that they post on social media are actually very wrong. And there's a lot of false information out there. And I'm not a fact checker. I'm not a Karen. But what I care about is people's spine, people's mind. And one of the top things, I mean, like I see cupping right on the middle of the spine and I want to close my eyes because you just herniate the disc. So it's very important to trust where you're going, know where you're going, look at the certifications, make sure it's not just, a whack job, but, it's important. So my mother was killed from the medical, community. She overdosed from blood thinner at the hospital due to a medical error. So for me, it starts with education. So that's my next path, is to educate the leaders of tomorrow to create a holistic facility like this so I can grow old, dry needle, and teach yoga and let someone else hold the reins.
There you go. That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the real mastership is teaching other people to do. When I started my franchise, or first I started a coaching program to do that back in the 90s. And then people said, well, you're teaching people to do what you do. You're going to be out of a job. I go, do you go to the mall? There's so many people that need help. So I congratulate you on that. And I'm a big one for collaboration and cooperation, because I think that that's the only way we're going to help. And, I'm also really doing a lot with what I call what's been termed the Maharishi effect. Because if we can get 1% of the people meditating for good, or just focusing on that, we're going to change the world. We know we need to change that. So I congratulate you for sharing. I mean, if we could all share what we're doing that works and start substituting some of this toxic therapy that's out there that really doesn't even work. I mean, like you said, we're the sickest country, really, or I don't know exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's the way treatment goes. They even say it in medical school. The system's set up to have people live longer and sicker. We're not letting them die. We're keeping them on respirators. We're keeping them going, but they're getting more disease, And I think we are doing that. People like me, people like you, collaborating is the big thing. And even Noah from the DJ for the 70s, 80s party, he came to Tampa last night. We collaborated. I did sound healing. He was a DJ at a breath dance reset. That was amazing. I teach yoga at the local gyms, Crunch, EOS, and I always make jokes because, if I call out, they get mad. I'm like, you guys know I don't do this for money. I do it because I love to do this. And we're always doing those global meditations where we're spreading our love throughout the world. And it's not woohoo. It's not, I always say, and people really feel the change. And that's a beautiful thing. And I feel with the consistency over time. In my keynote talk, I've been through a lot with my children, myself, my family. And it's like I'm riding the Titanic in an ocean that's about to swallow me. And now I'm on a sailboat. I don't even need all those tools. It's a calm sea. Mm-hmm. However, waves can come. I just know how to navigate it better. I have the tools. I don't have to expend as much energy. And I can't imagine living the life that I lived before this one, in this state of chaos. Like my heart center is the connection of the divine and the earth. And we all give that to everybody. Like we are the source. And the more that we learn, mind over matter, spiritual, physical, all the pillars of health, we are making a change to all those around us. And I felt that change the second I walked past you. So I'm glad we connected.
Yeah, so am I. This is exciting. And I'm glad that you're able to share so much knowledge with the world. How can people, as we wrap up the podcast today, I know people in Florida can just drive to see you. So tell us a little bit about where you're located, how they can get involved. They can go to your website. They can come to your bio.
Yes. So we do nutritional counseling, blood work. We even do training yoga online. So a lot of our services are available online. That's the one thing, that period of time, I'm not even going to label it, where we were stuck home, taught me how to connect with people online. So I find purpose through painful moments, right? So people can connect online just by going to the website. And we actually created a sister website, because typing in the Exercise Center, there's a lot of science. So we have a sister website. It's just exerscience.us. So exerscience.us, you can go there, access the school, access booking, access all the social media. You can always find me on Instagram or Facebook. I don't have a TikTok or a Twitter yet, but I am pretty fun online. And again, if you're in Tampa, or even if you're not, because when I travel to Texas or to other locations, I'm right by 75. I'm pointing it there just like my mother. Look, I'm turning it to her. But right off of 75 and State Road 56 is the Tampa outlets. So if anybody knows about outlets, there's a bajillion restaurants, lots of shopping, and there's a Hyatt Regency hotel and conference center. So I've had other professionals, we host conferences there. People will stay there. It's walking distance or 1 mile with Uber to my center. People that are from the Northeast or other places are like, a mile in this humidity, I'm going to kill you. So either way, you can take an Uber a mile. It costs less than $10, but I'm right here. I'd love to meet all of you. And if you send a message on social media, we usually get back within 2 days.
Awesome. Yeah. So there you go. You've got it. And you're very fun to be with, even at the biohacking. I know you're always part of the extracurricular activities, very social. So if you go there, you want to hang out with some positive people. I'm sure that that's the people you hire and inspire. And I know that if you're looking for a center that's getting results like what we heard today from the doc, then you want to go ahead and see if that internship's maybe something for you, because a lot of people.
And we're also hiring.
Yeah, so they're hiring. So there you go. If you're out there and you're looking for it, please reach out to her. It'll be in the show notes, all the links, all the social media, everything she's doing. And I do recommend, you seem to come up in my social media. I don't look at it that often, but it seems like you're always at the top. So you must post a lot. I know that. Really good and always having fun. In fact, today yours came up with the DJ. You were dancing at the party.
Yeah, that was the event that we just did. And again, I have like over 60,000 photos in my phone and videos. And I always tell myself, if I ever have a moment, there's so much content. And everybody already tells me, like, you already have so much content. And I truly I love that, because I feel like I'm pushing out maybe 5% of what I'm experiencing. And it's also special because when you get into the biohacking world, a day in the biohacking world could be a lifetime in the other world. So people say I do so much, it's because I work smarter, not harder, and I enjoy myself while I'm doing it.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing your wisdom, your life story here a little bit. And we're going to love to get this out to the world. Hopefully get some people down there to the Exerscience Center and get some help. I'm hoping that some of our doctors will take you up on some training, get down there and see what you're doing, because there's no one tool that's going to fix everything. There has to be a combination, and you're the consummate biohacker, adding in what you see fit, checking it out with your people, getting great results. And just adding in like the mind expander just recently. I mean, you're always expanding, growing, learning. So if people want to tune in, watch you on social media, I think that's a good thing. I mean, social media can be negative. This would be a very positive one to look at, because you're fun. You do it in a fun way too. It's not like a lot of people think of doctors a little bit of a stick in the mud.
It's important to have fun too. I've had people that have cerebral palsy, MS, spinal cord injury, and they contact me. They say, hey, I saw you twerking on stage, doc. Can you teach me, even though I have this going on? And those moments were so special to me, because there's people out there that want to tap into a fun part of themselves. And they also don't want to just go to maybe a Zumba class where people might not understand the neurophysiology going on in their body. And I found ways to unleash these wild women in any population. And that's part of my passion. That's part of my purpose. And I love to do that. The world teaches you can't be smart and sexy at once. You can't have fun and be serious. And I definitely think you can. So if you want to unleash any parts of yourself, come to a retreat. It usually happens in a very holistic and beautiful way.
Excellent. So thanks, listeners, for tuning in again to the BrainTap Business Journal podcast. We're bringing you information for yourself personally or for your practice. Today, she added both because she's a product of her product. She uses it. She's a brain tapper. She's also She's one of the voices on the Brain Tap. She's going to be adding more, so you can be inspired by her mission and her method and her message to the world. So appreciate you being here, spending your time with us today, and look forward to you sharing and liking this. So anyone you know out there that's going through some difficult times, this could be the podcast that changes their mind about health and healing. They can take back power through knowledge, as she was saying here. So thanks again for your time, your energy, your effort. We're going to put all of the notes in the bottom, so please like and share this. Let's get it out to the world and continue to change 1 billion brains to perform what we know is what's right and just, which means to take back your power, the power of health and healing. So thanks again, and please tune in next time to the Brain Tap Business Journal podcast.
Thank you, guys.